Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer deck tech, and today we're going to be talking about $50 Dimir, Mill, and Pioneer. I'm really excited to bring the list to you. I don't think I've ever actually done a Mill deck on the channel here. As always, just let me know in the comment section below after the video. What do you like about the list? What do you hate? Is there any specific card that I forgot? Just let me know in the comment section below. So, alright, real quick before we hop into it here. So, I know a lot of people really do not like Mill. They don't really like playing against it. And for those who really do like playing Mill, obviously you should play whatever deck that you like to play. Don't let your opponent discourage you. If it's like, oh my god, you're playing Mill, oh my gosh. No, just don't listen to them. And then people that are always hating on Mill, people like to play their own different kinds of decks. Everybody likes their own, different play styles, and you should respect that. So I had to throw that disclaimer in there before we hop into the deck. So, all right, let's hop into it here. So, technically, we're only playing 8 creatures. We're playing 4 Merfolk Secret Keeper and 4 Ruin Crab. Obviously, they're not good at attacking, but it doesn't matter. We're not trying to attack with this deck. So, Merfolk Secret Keeper is just a good card. 1 blue, mill 4, and then you obviously get an 0/4 body. Very good at blocking, which is fantastic, so it can help buy us some time to be able to mill out our opponent. Ruin Crab, also fantastic. Whenever land enters, each opponent mills 3 cards, which is just fantastic. Very similar to Hedron Crab of the past, for sure. So, both very fantastic creatures. This is not a creature, however, but it's just one of the permanents that we're playing, and I decided to throw it in there. So, Fraying Sanity, 2 and a blue. At the beginning of each end step, enchanted player puts the top X cards of their library into their graveyard, where X is the number of cards put into that graveyard for anywhere this turn. So, simply put, Fraying Sanity, it just doubles all of our mill cards. We make a mill 8, they mill 16, yada, 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 which is fantastic. Technically does have a one-shot kill with Maddening Cacophony that we're playing in the deck. Not that that's probably going to happen a lot, but it is a one-shot technically, which is kind of cool. So, Fraying Sanity, very, very good card. I wanted to throw this in here as well. This card did just get reprinted in the Enchanting, I always forget, the Enchanting Tales from Wilds of Eldraine. So if you were interested in buying this deck, I would definitely pick up the Fraying Sanity sooner than later. They're extremely cheap. Even if you don't even want to play Mill, I would highly suggest picking them up just because they might not really be this cheap again. So I had to throw that in there. So, all right, let's hop into more of our Mill cards here. We're playing 4 Tome Scours, 1 blue, mill 5. Pretty simple, just a good card in general. We're also playing 4 Maddening Cacophony. Kind of like a better Mind Sculpt, it mills 8, and then obviously if it was kicked instead, each opponent mills half their library rounded up. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is a lot of the newer mill cards don't specifically target, so if our opponent's playing, like Leyline of Sanctity, for instance, Maddening Cacophony, for instance, gets around that. Same with Ruin Crab. Obviously, it's each opponent. It's not target opponent. A lot of the older ones are, and that's perfectly fine, but just keep that in mind. If our opponent does play Leyline of Sanctity, we are not out of the woods. Just had to throw that in there. As our last main mill card, we're playing 4 Breaking and Entering. We're really just playing the breaking side. I did not put a red source in the deck for entering, mostly because, budget dual land restrictions. It's kind of harder to put in a red source, when you're on a budget land base. So we're just playing the breaking side, which obviously blue-black, target player mills 8, which is fantastic. It's a great rate. So breaking, still a fantastic card. All right, so let's hop into more of our mill cards. We're playing 2 Founding the Third Path, kind of one of the new cards from Dominator United. It's got the read ahead, which is fantastic, but even then, we like all 3 chapters. So obviously, chapter 1, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 1 or 2 from your hand without paying its mana cost. So we can play it, then we can Tome Scour, and we can Maddening Cacophony, whatever. We get 2 spells in 1. And then second chapter, target player mills 4 cards. Chapter 3, exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Copy it, you may cast the copy. Most of the time, you're not really going to want to be reading ahead with this, but obviously it's nice to have the option, though. Obviously, the instant or sorcery from our hand is fantastic. A lot of our good mill cards, we can hit through that, and then obviously the mill. And then even if we don't have something on chapter 1, you're like, oh, we could skip to chapter 2. But chapter 2, we get another draw step. Maybe we draw another mill spell. And then obviously chapter 3, we can use that same mill spell to keep milling them. So I had to throw that in there. But Founding the Third Path is very, very good for mill decks. We're also playing 2 Into the Story. 5 blue, draw 4 cards, but it costs 3 less if an opponent has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Spoiler alert, it's going to be really easy for them to have 7 or more cards in their graveyard, just because obviously bunch of our mill cards are, mill 5, mill 7, mill 8, which is fantastic. So Into the Story is a very, very good card. We're also playing 2 Crypt Incursion. Fantastic against aggro decks or decks that are trying to bring back creatures from their graveyard. 2 and a black instant exile cards. All creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. Every time I've cast this card, I have gained like well over like 20 some life. So Crypt Incursion is very, very good in a deck like this. And then rounding out some of our spells, we're playing 4 Fatal Push and 4 Drown in the Lock. Our removal spell package essentially is what this is. Drown in the Lock, though, is really, really great in the mid to late game. We mill we mill our opponent, and then at that point, it's like, oh, you're trying to cast a 3-drop, counter your spell. Oh, you have this really good creature. Okay, I'll just kill it. So Drown in the Lock is very, very good. It takes a hot minute to get going, so it's not really like a turn 2 card for the most part, but well after pretty much turn 3, it's just an auto, like, counter their spell or destroy their creature, which is absolutely fantastic to have a flexible card like this in the deck. So, I believe that's entire main board, yes, except the lands. We gotta talk about the lands. We're playing 4 Choked Estuaries, 3 Darksix Shores as our dual lands. Especially with blue-black, harder to find budget lands. These are the best ones I would play. I couldn't fit 4 Darksix Shores in the deck, but of course, if you're playing, non-budget, get 4 Darksix Shores. Just go ahead. I was just trying to fit this within the $50 budget. Choked Estuary, again, is kind of our next best option in terms of an untapped dual land. I thought about playing Temple of Deceit in the deck, but I ultimately decided to play the Choked Estuaries. We're also playing 4 Ipnu Riverlet. Just a fantastic, if you got nothing going on with your mana, obviously, you can sacrifice a desert and mill 4. We're not really playing any other deserts besides the Ipnu Rivulet in the deck, so you are gonna, sacrifice the desert itself, or if you happen to have another Ipnu Rivulet, regardless, you'll be having to sacrifice one, but it's just a little bit of extra late game reach, so fantastic card. Finishing our lands, we're playing 2 Field of Ruin. Works, honestly, for a couple different reasons. One, it gets a card out of our opponent's deck if they search for a basic, so it's kind of like a mill 1 in a way. Next thing, really good against, like Nykthos, for instance. It's really good against getting rid of those pesky man lands. It's good against, like, the Lotus combo deck, getting rid of their Thespian stage. Just a flexible card. But it's also really great with our Ruin Crab, because, we grab a basic, and then boom, we mill our opponent for another 3 with the Ruin Crab. So Field of Ruin, just a great card in general to be playing in the deck. And then, obviously, rounding out our land base, we're playing some basics. We're playing 6 islands, 3 swamps. So 2 reasons I chose the lands I did. One, they are beautiful artwork. I really, really like these John Avon. I really like the island. The swamp is very, very nice as well. So that's the first reason I decided to play these. The second reason is because a lot of our opponents really don't like mill. They find it as kind of, not a great experience sometimes, just because when you're trying to draw a specific card and your opponents keep milling all of them, it can be a little, you can get a little frosty from it, but we're playing white borders, which white borders bug a lot of people, so it's kind of twofold. We're playing beautiful artwork, and we're playing white borders just to, rub our opponent the wrong way, which is pretty funny. Honestly, the white border might even be the more irritating thing for them, but anyways, that's why I decided to put the white border basics in for the deck. So that's the entire main board. We got to talk about the sideboard real quick. So these are the couple things that I have going here. So Hand Disruption. Best one definitely being Duress, but if your opponent's playing a lot of creatures and stuff, you can play Dreams of Steel and Oil. That's also very fantastic. So removal, I've got Languish and Rave Enfeeblement as mine. You could also play Power Word Kill. I actually think I have Power Word Kill in my slot right now, but Rave Enfeeblement is great if you're playing against a lot of white decks in your local metagame. Silver Bullets, as always, Necromentia. If our opponent is playing a combo deck, it just hinders their combo. We get rid of all copies of it, and then on top of that, we're just going to mill them out. It's also funny, if they happen to get zombies from it, our 0-3 Crabs and our 0-4 Merfolk Secret Keeper don't even care about those 2-2 zombies, so I had to throw that in there. And as always, some Graveyard Hate. So Crypt Incursion, in a way, is kind of Graveyard Hate, because it gets rid of their creatures, but the main one being Tormod's Crypt, or you could also play Soul Guide Lantern. Either one of those are definitely very, very good for the sideboard. And our last thing we have to talk about is the non-budget options. So if you'd like to upgrade the deck. So obviously, first one, Shock and Flip lands. Those are definitely the best lands that are not included in the deck because of budgetary restrictions. Definitely take out like the Choked Estuaries, a couple basics. You don't want to take out too many because we are playing the Field of Ruins, so we want to make sure that we can get a land off of the Field of Ruins, so just be aware of that. Thoughtseize, you know, a lot of people, obviously that's a pretty standard one for the most part. Thoughtseize is very, very good. I don't know if I wouldn't put it in the main board, but definitely very, very good for the sideboard. Next one, Tasha's Hideous Laughter is definitely it's probably the only mill card I really couldn't fit in there efficiently for the budget. Could I have fit it in there? Yeah, but then we wouldn't have been able to, like in the original version of the list I built, I wasn't able to fit in 4 Maddening Cacophonies, and I wasn't able to fit in any of the Darkslick Shores because of the Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Fantastic card. If you want to play it in your version, you know, obviously you're not stuck on $50. Yeah, go ahead and put a couple in there. You know, there's really no reason not to. Just wanted to throw that in there. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, very, very good card. It can be a little bit of a nombo because, you know, it exiles, so it doesn't work well with Fraying Sanity, it doesn't work well with Crypt Incursion, but the card, it just gets rid of so many cards that it's just that good to play. And then the last thing I wanted to throw in here is this deck, you know, assuming there's no budgetary restrictions, is under $200, which is an extremely good rate for a Pioneer deck. So if you're interested in purchasing the deck, it's super duper cheap. I also forgot to mention this before, but if you wanted to check out my sideboarding option, it's also in the deck list in the description. Oh, well, the deck list is in the description below. Sorry. Just wanted to throw that in there, which is technically going to be on the next screen, but I always seem like I forget to say that. So, anyways, that is the entire deck. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section below. Is there any specific cards that I forgot? I know there was a few mill cards that I did not include in the deck, you know, just because I decided to choose specific ones over the other ones. But, you know, just let me know if there's a card that I forgot. And as always, if there's any suggestions that you have for an upcoming video, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. So, I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.